Got it. Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a
Thank
minute
you.
out today. I
Of course.
appreciate it.
Yes.
So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. I always start with this. 6 years ago, especially in your arena here, the pandemic changed so much for all of us. The way we related, the way we are. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you approach work and life in 2026?
Right. I knew you were going to ask that question because I listened to a few of your podcasts.
Yeah,
Well, I think the pandemic had a lot of cons, but definitely had some pros. And for me personally, I used to go out 7 nights a week, 7 nights a week.
yeah,
I lived in Aspen, Colorado. There was always somebody to go out with. And frankly, in my book is a memoir, so I wrote as much truth as I can remember in those time periods. And COVID put all of us at home. I actually spent it with a boyfriend. And in the long run, Joe, that didn't end up going so well. But during the actual pandemic, it was great. And
yeah.
then we had some other problems. But I think it taught me to stay at home, which has been wonderful. It's certainly done a lot for my business in that you can meet with people via Zoom. I have a kid who lives in Australia, so thank God for FaceTime.
Yeah.
I would miss him so much if he was there and I couldn't FaceTime with him. And, it's not quite as good as making memories in person, but it certainly it is very helpful. And so I think, I work out with a guy 3 days a week, which I'll be doing later today via Zoom, and it's great. So I think that there's a lot of positive things that came out of that particular time frame. I'm curious, what is yours?
I really ramped up my interviews with jazz musicians during that time. I remember, I'll go back. I remember in January. Well, I'll even go back a little further than that. I remember reading the Beijing newspaper in November of 2019, and the streets were empty and it was really eerie. Like, and the only people that were there was like one or two people with masks. And I was like, what is going on? And they were like, COVID's coming. But in January, I talked to an old friend, and he was like, they already told our kids they're sending computers home with them, possibly because there's going to be a shutdown.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I just went to denial mode. There's no way. No way. And I have a kid that's on the spectrum. At the time, he was in school and he loves school. And I was like, there's no way I can't even go there. I'm going to dismiss that you even said it. But then it happened, and I was like, what would be one of the best things that I can do? And I really ramped up and talked to musicians, and I had my stepdaughter and son with me, and the way the musicians, their outlook and who they are and the strength of their character was so wonderful during that time. I mean, they were overwhelmingly positive. A couple of them just ditched what they were doing in big cities. One guy became a surfer in Costa Rica. He was a pianist in New York City, and he just sold everything and went to Costa Rica. So you can hear macaws in the background and the surf and all of that. And he just, but anyway, it was really kind of heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was also such a strong time for all of us to be like, we just have to hang in here. We have to be on this lifeboat because we're going to get out of it. And a lot of it is because for them, the stage and touring is a huge deal. I mean, it's one thing about surviving, but it's another thing when your whole livelihood is gone. Yeah, you can do it
Yeah.
remote, but music, as we've touched on before, is a real communal event that
Yeah.
requires your flesh in a room, you know.
Yes.
So, and so does dating, and so do all of these other things.
Mm.
Those things are completely a part of it. So that's a natural lead in here. Let me ask you this. If I put you in front of a bunch of kids at career day in a room, 11, 12-year-old kids, and you had to condense down what you do for a living on a daily basis, how do you explain that to them?
That's a very good question. I always think about interviewing young kids about what their experiences in their family, like take a 5-year-old who makes the money in your family, what happens? Because I wrote a book primarily about what's called A Woman on Top, my journey of self-discovery through love and money. And it's about all the weird, strange messages I got as a child around money. And then I inherited some money when I was 47, so the rules of the game changed a lot. All of a sudden, I was a woman on top, and I was controlling the purse strings of a lot of relationships. And frankly, it didn't go very well. I
Yeah.
mean, it really didn't. I didn't have the tools. So I would say to 11, 12-year-olds, I'm trying to help make the world a better place by helping people to not take things personally, to take personal responsibility for their lives and to learn to say no when it's not, we would have to change the hell yeah, but when it's not really a yes. So I think what I'm trying to do is create more loving relationships within families so that kids are better off, you know? And frankly, I mean, as a mother, I know my kids are a little bit older than 11 and 12, but they can roll their eyes at me and I take it personally.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have done all these things for you, and you're rolling your eyes at me. Oh, well, now I know that their kids are going to be rolling their eyes at them, and everybody's rolling their eyes. And it's just, it's part of what they think is really, ha ha ha, let's tease mom. And frankly, it was hurting me to take those things personally. So I've stopped that. I, it's a very interesting question, and I don't know whether I'm answering it very
You
well.
are.
I really think about that.
No, you gave me a great expose too. That gives me kind of a back end of what's going on too. And I want to know, going back to your childhood, are you from Colorado originally?
California.
Okay.
Don't I
So
look like it?
yeah,
California
I
girl.
get the California vibe. Absolutely. So when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream gig?
I wanted to be a singer. That's what I wrote in my eighth grade yearbook. I had to think about that for a minute. And I'm like, wait, I know what I wanted to be. It's very interesting because I'm not a very good singer, but in some ways, I think I wanted to be a star. And a lot of people, I've interviewed many musicians, famous ones who are sitting at the top of their game, particularly women who get confused also about how to find love
Yeah,
because everybody wants to be them. I wrote about this one woman in Nigeria. She's extreme, or sorry, in Uganda. She's extremely well known. And she's like, I can't find anybody that I know that they're just here because of me. And so, I think that I kind of lost the question. You're gonna have to remind me what it was.
you answered it. What did you want to be when you grew up?
A singer.
And
And now it's so funny. Oh, I know what I was gonna say is that a lot of people tease me and like, you just want to be, for everyone to see you. I was like, well, I have to have everyone see me for them to understand that they can do it too. Right. I am a thought leader. It's important for me to get this message out to women that they can look really good on the outside. They can be smart, educated. I know more women on the planet that are so great and they're really lacking for a partner. And my message to them is one, you're not the only one. And two, what if they never come around? How do you want to live your life then?
yeah,
I want to live to be a woman on top. I get a lot of slack around that too. You just want to be a woman on top and whatever. I was like,
yeah,
no, being on top means being on top of my game.
yep, for sure.
And if I'm on top of my game, I don't get bothered by what happens around me.
You know, isn't there a part of people that get into the entertainment realm too to be seen? Like maybe they're the youngest of people in their family, or there's some other things, and they just want, I think about that with me. I always wanted to get into broadcasting. I was 4'11" in high school. I was always small, and I was the youngest of three, never really had any people around to see events or do things. And it's like sometimes we psychologically are waving our hands to say, hey, I'm here. Just
Interesting.
wanting to be seen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's true for everyone in some ways because we have this thing called an ego. And I've had more people say, "Oh, I don't have an ego." I'm like, "Do you have a heart?
Yeah.
If you have a heart, you have an ego. You
Uh-huh.
you can't not have one." Now, what you do with that is the most important thing because it can really control your life. It controls a lot of people's lives. I think it controlled a lot of my life because I wanted to be important
Yeah.
and I wanted people to think how great I was. And you know what, the more I wanted them to think I was great, the more they didn't really think I was that good.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, I think, is that,
Yeah.
you're going for something to make yourself. feel good. And where I really come from now is I want to be the kindest, most loving human being I can be to you, to myself, to everybody that I come across. And the more I do that, coupled with not taking things personally, the more my life flourishes.
Yeah. Yeah. So who's been your
Amazing.
yeah, so who's been your hero? Who's been your inspirational force that's kind of navigated you through life to this point where you want to help people and you want to help them find love and not take things personally? Who was that for you?
You know, it's really funny because this woman will never listen to this. I wish she would, but I've been telling this for years. Her name is Nanette Polson. And I was like, Nanette, you are my superstar. She raised three girls in Squaw Valley. Her husband's father founded Squaw Valley. So they had, there was a lot of things going around, and she's just the most peaceful, most, she just is just a lovely person. And, there's certainly Eleanor Roosevelt, Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama. I mean, there's so many unbelievable women that are coming to the forefront, especially now. Like Eleanor Roosevelt was the role model. There was no one else.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look back over history, and, I'm 66, so when I was growing up, there was very few female role models
Hmm.
empowering being a woman on top. I found Annette Paulson and I was like, I just want to be like you. And she wasn't, the most popular or whatever, but she gave to her family. She was there to provide. It's so funny. I just went to Morocco, to Marrakesh, and I had the honor of staying in somebody's house, which is, wow, way different than my house.
Yeah.
But the mother has got to be one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Her job is to serve her family. She cooks and she cleans and she takes care of them and calls her sons like 5 times a day because she loves them so much. And the sons love her back, and the husband's there doing his thing. And it was such an eye-opening experience into a different culture where there's no like fighting over who's going to do what job and who's better at this and who's, women. I'm so happy women are rising in their empowerment and making more money, but we're still not, as a whole, very satisfied, I don't think,
Right.
yet. We're in transition, in my opinion. We've made it a long ways since 1963, and we could vote and own land. That's not very long ago. It was 1963 years before, since zero. And all the years before that, where women weren't really, they were put down. In the Muslim culture, they're not put down at all. They're
Right.
revered for what they do, and they love it. And it was just it teaches me to be more simple, to be more loving. I have three children, and I have a little baby grandson who's a year old, who's the cutest thing on the planet, and I'm having the best time being the most loving grandma ever.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. The one thing about love is that it permeates all of the arts and entertainment that we're involved with, from songs to movies to TV shows. So my question to you is this: what is your favorite love story?
In a song or just in general?
In any level of entertainment that we divulge in as human beings that have been on the silver screen or over the airwaves, what is the one that's always swayed you, or even in a book growing up? What was the love story that was always the most endearing? Whether it was Romeo and Juliet, when Harry met Sally, however it plays out, what is your favorite ideal love story?
Well, I'm going to give you the weirdest answer you ever
I love
heard.
it. Okay.
When I went to Marrakesh on my family vacation, I met a man, totally inappropriate. 42, he drives. That's what he does for his job. And I actually I'm going back to Marrakesh because I was so blown away. That's why I was staying in mommy's house, blown away by this man and his level of commitment to me. I have never in my life on the big screen, in real life, experienced a person who thinks that I'm the greatest. He has not 1 ounce of um I don't know, he was like, I'm just here to serve you, my queen. I was like, who gets called my queen?
Yeah,
It is like nothing. I mean, anybody that knows me is going to go, she's fucking lost her mind. My children think I'm cuckoo. Then I'm going back to Morocco to be with a driver. But the driver speaks 5 languages. He's a poet.
yeah.
He only wants to serve me.
Wow.
That's it. And he's really smart.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't really know, Joe, if I'm ever going to find another, I compare it to every single love story anywhere.
yeah.
I've never seen anything like this or experienced it. And unfortunately, it's ruined me from ever being in a relationship, or maybe it's going to open me up to something that's great. I mean, there's certainly like out of Africa, but then he left, all the time. And I was like, no, don't leave.
Yeah.
Like it was a beautiful love story. When Harry Met Sally is another beautiful example, but that was fraught with challenges too. And The Notebook,
Yeah.
that was a source of pure love right there. Of being able to, he took care of her and all the people out there on the planet, because I know there's a lot of them. I was just reading Scott Galloway's book and about how he was talking about a friend of his father's. Do you know who Scott Galloway is? He's
I've heard
writing
the
about
name before. Yeah.
young men and the detriment that they're in with vaping and sitting around social media and not making money, and it's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Um, but he was talking about his father's friend who he said was the greatest man that he ever met, and how the father nursed his Alzheimer-ridden wife of 50 years through to her death. And that also those are the kind of things this experience in Marrakesh has taught me, to open me up. Like, how loving can I really be?
Yep. Yep. I think we have to have those examples in life if we want to get the depth of love and what we do. And I say that because I had mentioned before my son's on the spectrum, and I've been
Yes,
in the special needs community for about 20 years, 21 years now. And when you see the level of love they can give,
yes,
and the level of care that's required, you get the depth of what unconditional love is like. And I
right.
think by proxy of that, sometimes, like you said, your idea of love is always going to be tainted because of this
Yeah.
experience.
Let me ask you, does he live with you?
Yeah,
How old is he? How old is
he,
he?
he's 21.
All right. So he's going to be with you forever.
Yeah, he'll be with me forever.
I mean, I remember being in my second graduate program at the University of Santa Monica, and there was a woman that stood up, and her son was extremely autistic and was going to live with her for the rest of her life. And the, it gives me goosebumps to think about it. Like, the level of love that she had for this child
Yeah.
was just incredible. And I'm sure there are some parents that are like, what the heck? I can't do this. But for the most part, my experience is that people that have children that are with them forever are, yes, you have a different capacity or understanding of love than most people.
It's a unique blend. There is actually a poem out there. I think it's called Going to Holland or something like that. And it's about when you're a parent, you're going to this experience, you think you're flying to Italy. You're getting ready, you're doing all of this preparation, but when you land, you're in Holland. And you're like, what's going on here? But it's the idea that you embrace what you have and you love what you have. It can be anterior to what you had. And I think that's the idea of being alive on this planet, is that hopefully by the time this book closes, we have some better appreciation of how unconditional love works. Because it's cute, we all say it. Yeah, love unconditionally, and we have all these ideas, but nothing is ever going to be tried and true until you practice it and do it yourself, alone in the most spiritual moment that you can create.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't go to Holland. I ended up in Marrakesh. I don't know, it was totally
Yeah,
a
that's it.
mistake.
Yeah,
But I can't tell you how mind-blowing this is. 66 years I've been on this planet. So many relationships. My daughter said, "What is the difference between all the three men you wrote about in your book and how much you love them?" I said, the difference is that I don't have to prove anything.
Yeah,
He doesn't want my money. He doesn't want to come to the US. He just wants to live in Marrakesh and have his beautiful life. I have never experienced anyone that is open and willing to give like this man gives. I don't have to do anything.
yeah,
I don't have to pretend I'm younger. I used to date a lot of professional athletes, like in the water ski and snow ski world where they don't make any money. And so I had to take care of them. They were always younger. They were really hot. I wrote about all this in my book. And I was always trying to prove that I was okay.
yeah,
Now, I was really just fine, but I didn't know. And this is so different because I don't have to prove anything.
yeah.
I can just be me.
But isn't it proof that truth is always stranger and more interesting than fiction? Like we have these like movies and all of these things that we get, but the reality is that living this life organically is by far the most interesting way that we can go.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, especially I've been watching 1923, which is a sequel to Yellowstone. And, in all these shows, there's love, and some of it is the love between the families. Like last night, I was like, oh my God, what happened to her?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it's very, and I think that's why I like it, and some other people like it because it's real life story, like things like I don't know if you ever watched the series This Is Us. I
I
mean,
haven't
some
seen
people
it.
I can't watch that thing. It's way too depressing. There is so much love in there and whatever that it's just it will eat you up. Um, but yes, real life is well, hopefully you see the problem that I see here is that I haven't really formulated my final opinion on this, but it seems like there's a lot of people that are doing love pretty well, but then they somehow, I guess it's back to that ego thing is that they want somebody that's raised like them,
Yeah,
or they want, there's all these expectations that we have
yeah.
as humans, especially in the US. I think it's the worst. I travel all over the world, so um, I don't know whether it's the consumerism and the all the stuff that we have that we think that we have to live up to and all the opportunities we have and we can't seem to figure out which ones to do and so we're like, well, you should act like this or whatever it is. This is like no podcast I've ever been on. You're taking me to a place where I really have to think about what is it, the real root of who I am, what I'm doing, and what
Yeah,
I'm trying to achieve here. I really
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Yeah. No, that's why we do what we do here. The one thing I think too you had mentioned about just being a woman, especially in America these days, all of these rights that have been rescinded, it's like we've gone back decades. Well, I mean, even just basic medical services have been rescinded in places down south, in rural areas. And I think when you talk about, not taking it personally, all society does is throws this mud. Like there used to be, in my mind, because I'm a Gen Xer, I'm 53, I thought there was this progressive evolutionary step that we were taking as human beings between race and gender. And it's like in the last 8 to 10 years, it's all been rescinded, and we're going into some archaic stone age of thought that is completely not going to do anybody any good. Because,
I mean, I know that that's happening in the world of like we had some people coming and talking about women's health here at the Aspen Institute, which is a very progressive place to bring in thought leaders and whatnot. But, and obviously Trump has cut off all funding for females over the age of 40. We're the biggest growing, fastest, biggest part of our population is women over 40.
yeah,
And cut off all their healthcare research. Like that's just silly.
yeah.
But other than that, do you see other things that are happening in the last 8 to 10 years that you see are obvious markers for how power has been taken away?
I think even for young girls that have like pregnancy or fertility issues, they're getting all of these services in, say, Alabama, Mississippi, southern states are, I mean, or they have to drive forever to go somewhere.
Right.
And
Well, certainly the whole thing around abortions and people leaving
it, it,
states and having to,
yeah,
manage
or
that's
even like
rough.
birth control and all of those things. And I think just the idea that how is it that we can't get a woman to be elected president, and those things, that's what I'm talking about. And then you create this state and this mentality for all of the women that live in this country of, yeah, shoot for the stars, be on top, do all these things, but you're not going to become the president. Why can't you become president? We have women take care of all of these issues, like this woman that you stayed with. They're the house, they're taking care of the house and all these things. Why can't they take care of the country? What's the big deal? What's the problem?
Well, see, I have a theory on this. I don't know whether it's going to be very popular, but let's just go back to Hillary Clinton. Just let Kamala go for the moment. We
Sure.
go back to Hillary Clinton, and she was in a position, in my opinion, to win. She was.
Yeah, I agree.
And then she got caught hiding 33,000 or however many emails. In my opinion, and this is what where I'm trying to work with women is that I don't think she thought she could do it because who would set that up to she had it in the bag as far as I could tell. She was going to be the first female president, and I think she wimped out and she set it up
Right.
so she didn't have to do it. And I think that that's not, I'm not pointing to Kamala was, I mean, did she have, I'm getting into politics, so I'm going to get in trouble, but did she have to lower herself down to act like Trump and act like a baby?
Right.
I was like, why are you doing that?
I
You're an
know.
empowered female.
Yeah.
Like, stand up and say what you think in a nice, polite, kind, loving way,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
So I think I think that this is a very complicated time for women
Yeah.
because you look at Me Too, which is another area where I differ from other people. Like, so we swang up and we're like, it's all men's fault. It doesn't have anything to do with us wearing low-cut outfits and possibly ending up in the backside of the bar late at night drunk. Like
Right.
that's personal responsibility. And what happened in the result of Me Too and trying to blame men is that the men came back and now they're trying to blame the women and they're taking away health care and they're taking away. So you see all these things
Yeah.
are tied together, I think. And the only thing that I think we can do as women is be kind and loving and don't take anything personally.
Yeah. Which goes back to your original thought here. We are running away with our time, and and we knew we were going to go over time. But I want to ask you this. At the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, everyone that knows you, everyone that gets your book, everyone that dives into your world, but you run the show. What is your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
A little crazy and a very unique. My kids are like, "What the hell is wrong with my mother?" But they're used to it. So what I see and what I think, I'll answer that is what is my gift.
Yeah.
I'm kind of funny. Um, and my next book is called 100 Days of Tinder. For all anybody out there that's got some good online dating stories, get a hold of me. Um, I think that I have a really good blend now since COVID because that's when things shifted for me because that was the last boyfriend. um, of being able to really see people for who they are, be loving towards them. And when somebody says, this is the strongest thing that I can think that defines my personality is that I exercise the muscle to not take things personally. And it happens all the time. It's not like you arrive and nobody's going to push your button. Oh, they're going to push buttons your whole damn life.
Yeah.
And it's what you do about it. So I, I asked my three children who know me better than anyone, they're good. My mom would be crazy. And that served me very well because I've been able to write funny things and,
Uh-huh.
come in here and have a very unique conversation with you where I was like, holy God, I don't know the answer to that. And I was like, well, maybe I actually do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. What, so let me, so if anybody out there wants to get your book, A Woman on Top, Your Journey of Self-Discovery Through Love and Money, or if they want to delve into anything else that's going on, where can they go? Where's the best place?
So you can buy the book on Amazon, and I'm sure in your show notes it shows my last name is spelled Leydecker, which is kind of confusing because if you just put in a woman on top, you won't get it. You have to put in my last name.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have a website where you can sign up for, you can put your email list, your email in there, and then you'll get regular, like I send out weekly things and I write on Substack on a regular basis. I just did my first video on Substack, so that was super fun. I interviewed an 18-year-old, 19-year-old who gave me a world's worth of wisdom. And I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm everywhere. If you want
Okay.
to find me, and if you read my book, please let me know what you think.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know what I think. I want to know what you think.
Yeah.
So you can get a copy too. You know, more men have read my book than women.
I love it. I'm a huge reader, so I'd love to. Is it in audio by any chance?
It is an audio too, so I just did it, and I actually just got finished listening to my own voice, and I'm not half bad, so I'm
I love
pretty
it.
happy about that.
I di I
I had to
dig
do it twice.
Yeah, I digest it so much better with audio, so I
Me
will
too.
pick it up and I will let you know for sure. So thank you so much. I will put all these links in the show notes. This has been wonderful, an illuminating, wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. It's great to orbit into your world a little bit. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
Best of luck.